Welcome to my sweet life. I'm Amy, and in today's episode, I'm going to share with you my tips, tricks, techniques, and basic pro game to get the best vegan chocolate chip cookies. The first thing that I do with any recipe really is I mise en place. Into the bowl, first thing I'm going to add is 80 grams of palm shortening. You can use any type of vegetable shortening here, that will do. Obviously, you don't want to use butter or animal-based shortening. So something that you can just buy, any type of solid shortening that you can find at the grocery store. Totally fine. Next up is going to be brown sugar right into the bowl. Now, brown sugar is the thing that I feel makes chocolate chip cookies so stinking good. It's the molasses in the sugar. It's not completely removed during processing. You could get dark brown sugar, which is going to have more molasses, or light brown sugar. I stick to organic light brown sugar. Up next, I'm going to get my vanilla extract in there. Vanilla is so important because it balances out the flavors, especially with the chocolate and the molasses. You really don't want to omit vanilla extract from your chocolate chip cookies. Then in goes baking soda and salt. Now, I add these in with my wet ingredients because it's going to evenly disperse it throughout the dough. A lot of recipes call for the dry ingredients to all be combined, and I just think that's kind of silly because you're not gonna get it evenly mixed in there, and then you're gonna get awkward cookies. Cookies are kind of a little bit tricky to get them all really nice and perfect, but this definitely is going to help. So get those in there with your wet ingredients, and then lastly, I'm gonna be putting in the unsweetened applesauce. Make sure you get unsweetened. Obviously, if it has sweetener in it, it's going to affect your end result, making your cookies way too sweet, and we don't want to mess with the sugar in the recipe. So just look for unsweetened and you will be good to go. 80 grams of that is going to go in, and this is basically our binder. It's what's replacing the eggs. I like applesauce in my cookies because it basically imparts no flavor and it works really, really well for cookies. So that's just what I use because it works. So in that goes, and I'm gonna get that going on low speed just to kind of get it intermingling. And then I'm gonna crank that up to medium-high speed for about 2 minutes until it's nice and light and fluffy. And you can hang out and watch it, and it's magic. Just watching it kind of get all that air incorporated in there. Magic of baking. Once you've got to that point, that's when I like to stop, scrape my bowl, mix it just a little bit more, and then I'm gonna add all at once my 200 grams of all-purpose flour. Make sure you're using all-purpose, not cake flour, not self-rising flour. You wanna go for all-purpose. Definitely don't use bread flour. You will have very tough cookies. So in that goes all at once. I'm gonna mix it pretty well, and then I'm gonna scrape the sides and then just give it a little blast on medium-high speed just to get it mixed in, but not too much that you overwork the dough. So what you're looking for is it's gonna be kind of like a medium brown dough, and you want it to be like not stick to your fingers. And there might be a little bit, it might be slightly tacky, but you want it to actually be a dough. So once we've got our dough going, go ahead and preheat your oven to 275 degrees Fahrenheit. Now this temperature is really important. I've seen a lot on cookies, like so many cookie recipes over the years, and they suggest like 350, 375. If you see a cookie dough recipe that calls for 375 or 400 degrees Fahrenheit, my friend, don't use that recipe. Just don't follow it. You should never be baking cookies at that high of a temperature unless it's some sort of, Florentine. But regular run-of-the-mill cookies, like chocolate chip cookies, you need to bake at a low temperature, because when you bake at a high temperature, what happens is the outside of the cookie gets really, really firm and hard and over darkens before the inside has a chance to fully bake. So when you bake at a lower temperature, such as 275 degrees Fahrenheit, you get the perfect speed of baking throughout to leave you with just the slightest crispy edges and a perfectly soft center. Now, I am using a number 50 scoop. I like to use cookie scoops, people, because perfect cookies every time. Like, it's a no-brainer. If you don't have a cookie scoop, it's a good investment. So number 50, 2 scoops for large cookies or 1 scoop for small. This batch makes a dozen large cookies or 2 dozen mini cookies. I set a timer, 13 minutes exactly for the large, 9 minutes exactly for the small. Now you're probably thinking at this point, why didn't she add chocolate chips into the dough? Well, it's because I like to use Calais. And Calais are just nice little chocolate discs. They're couverture. And I'm using a Guittard 74% organic dark chocolate. Now, if you are watching this video because you have an allergy to dairy, then go ahead and get just a very vegan, dairy-free specific chocolate chip that you can add into the dough. Add as much as you want, like no judgment here. Add as many chocolate chips as you want. Like it doesn't affect anything. You're just gonna have more chocolate in the end. So I like to use the Calais because I break them up. I do 2 per large cookie or 1 per small cookie. And I just think laying them on top looks really nice. And I don't know, something about the visual of knowing which bites to take because they have the chocolate pieces there. Like, you know, when you're eating a regular chocolate chip cookie and you're not quite sure if there's chocolate chips in that bite or not, or you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, okay, totally. So this method, you know for sure where your chocolate's at, okay? Now my chocolate is a little bit bloomed, which is seriously no biggie because once these bad boys bake, they are going to come out nice and glossy. Glossy chocolate on the top. These look beautiful. Also, you eat with your eyes, duh. So, you know, just try the whole Calais on top. Stick with the dark percentages, 70% or above, and you're looking at not having any dairy in it. So vegan, bam, there you go. Now, once I get those chocolate pieces on, I'm gonna pop these in the oven. I set my timer for exactly 13 minutes. I know I have an oven thermometer. I really recommend oven thermometers. They work wonders because cookies have a 2-minute perfection window. If you read a cookie recipe and it says 8 to 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes, 13 to 15 minutes, that's because you have that 2-minute window. So basically what that is there's a perfect time for every cookie dough, like a perfect time. If your oven's calibrated and you bake it at the right temperature, the number right in the middle is the exact number you want. If you bake it a little less than 1 minute to the underside, it's gonna be underbaked. You bake it a little past 1 minute to the overside, it's gonna be overbaked. So it's a 2-minute perfection window. You go under, you go over, it's a no-fly zone. What I also recommend is possibly taking a couple of your cookies, baking them, see what happens with your oven, and then just kind of doing the rest after that, depending on, you know, how you like your cookies and what you think worked out. So I set my timer exactly for 13 minutes, and when it goes off, they come out and they are gorgeous. Now with these cookies, I find that while they are good warm, they are best made the night before and letting them age a little bit. I feel like there's 2 schools of people. There's like the people that love, you know, cookies fresh, warm out of the oven, right? And that's, I think, the majority of people. And then there's the other school, which I'm in, and we're the people that like aged cookies. And if you like aged cookies or you like fresh cookies, let me know in the comments below what school of people you're in, so maybe I won't feel so lonely. I feel like there's so many people that like fresh cookies. But actually, if you put them in, if you let them cool completely and then put them in an airtight container, try them the next day. Like, try them fresh out of the oven and then try them the next day, and you will notice such a huge difference because the flavors actually just like mingle together, they hang out, they get better. And if you try out this recipe, then, you know, let me know how it went. You can hit me up in the comments below the video and tell me what you thought. If you thought I was like, yay or nay, give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down. And if you would like to see more vegan baking recipes, then hit subscribe so you can be notified when I post the next episode. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm glad you stuck around this far. Congratulations, and I hope to see you again. Bye-bye.